alfalfa cubes and ashes. That will make an apple tree happy. So this apple tree right here is, or was, a sad case. It was way overgrown through the middle. About a month ago, I came over and pruned out the mess in the middle, and we did what is called festooning, which is bending the branches sideways. If you bend the branches sideways on a fruit tree, the hormone, the auxin hormone, will build up in the branches and induce fruiting rather than leaves. If it wants to go straight up, then what you do is you bend it sideways. If it goes straight up, it makes leaves. If it goes sideways, it tends to make more fruit. This is a Granny Smith apple, which has not been happy because it was never really pruned or cared for, and there was grass growing around it. You can see how tall it is. I had to leave that one section of branch right there, but it was basically just a big intercrossing cluster of branches. And so I took the ones out of the center and put it all sideways so we can get more air through it and hopefully we get more fruit. And then another thing I did, because this tree has not been making fruit, is I grafted 2 different varieties of apple onto it as pollinators. So now it has branches that'll pollinate because there were no other apples nearby except another Granny Smith. And even, like I've said before, with the self-pollinating trees, they usually do better if they have a mate somewhere. Another thing I did, I threw down Solomon's Gold fertilizer over the ground, about 1 quart, and I threw down the alfalfa meal and the ashes, about 1 quart of ashes around the tree, and then we wet the ground really, really well, and I put down this cardboard, and then on top of it we're throwing rotten wood, and then this will get mulched over. It'll look prettier when it's done. This is kind of a cool thing. My friend said, hey, instead of tying cinder blocks or something heavy to the bottom, why don't we get these tent stays from Walmart? So these are tie downs that screwed in the ground, and we could bend the branches down. You got to be careful when you bend the branches because they will crack if you bend too far. But this time of year when you can really see the shape of the tree, bend those branches sideways, get the light in, get the auxins building up in the branches. You should get much more in the way of blooms. And eventually, after they've been tied down like this, they'll actually start to settle, and you'll be able to untie them and they'll spring back a little bit. If they get fruit on them, the fruit will also help them bend down sideways. They'll spring back a bit, but the wood starts to harden up going sideways, and you can get that wide open thing which you want. And also, look at this. This is all easily pickable now, whereas before it was not. So just a quick revamp the apple video here. Taking an old tree that was not happy or productive. It's only ever made a couple of fruit. And hopefully we'll get a really good growth year, maybe even a fruiting year, but next year it should fruit like crazy, particularly since we've removed the grass competition and we've fed it with all the micronutrients, and we've also bent it sideways and took the crossing branches out so it's getting lots of sunlight and air. Should be much, much happier. Thanks for joining me. Catch y'all next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.
I buried my rabbit beneath the cherry tree one fine afternoon. Someday I know that we'll meet again on a fruit salad spoon.